All right. Good morning, mamas. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the Babymigo team for having me here today. And thank you all for accommodating my schedule. As fellow moms, you understand, I have a toddler. She goes to school in the morning and comes back. Like she fully lands in the afternoons. And once she's around, I can't do anything. So thank you for having me at this time. All right. So who am I? This gorgeous lady talking to you. Wait, can you see my video? Can you see my face?
Yes, we can
Is my
see it.
video on? You can see my face.
Yes.
I need
We
you to
can't
see
see
my
your
video.
face, but we can see the
Oh, okay.
slides.
All right. All right. Let me see if I can turn on my video for you. Um, let's see if that works. And if it doesn't work, we'll just keep moving with the slides. All right. Okay. Okay. So can you still see my slides? Let me know. Let me know, please.
I'm not
Can
sure.
you
Oh,
see my
yes, we can
slides?
see everything now.
Good.
We can see your slides. We can see your face.
Everything. Perfect. I need you to see my smile and everything. All right. So, who is this gorgeous woman in front of you today? My name is Ewa Eni-ODUNJo. I am a wife and a mom. I've been married for over 3 years, and I'm married to the most handsome man in the planet. Like, I didn't put his face here so that you will not be jealous. I'm just joking. But yeah, he's been my friend for my entire life because we grew up together. We didn't know we were going to get married, but here we are, 3 years after, and a baby girl after. So I'm a girl mom. I'm also a certified marriage and family life coach with the Institute for Marriage and Family Affairs. I've been a counselor for over 7 years, and even though I'm young in a sense, I'm old in that regard because I've seen it all. I've counseled singles, I've counseled those in dating relationships, and right now I get the privilege to sort of focus on wives, especially young wives within 0 to 10 years of marriage. And I do this almost exclusively with the people in my community called the Young Wives Circle. All right, so that's that about me. Today, postpartum sex, what to expect. What exactly am I going to be talking to you about? First, I'm going to be talking about your sexual worldview. Then we're going to look at your sexual climate after a baby arrives. And then we'll talk about the good part. Well, if you're there, getting ready to have sex again. And then at the end of it, I have a gift for you, 5 steps to better sex. All right, so now I would like to get to know who I'm talking to. If you're here with me, just let me know where you're joining from, and also let me know if you are a first-time mama, if this is going to be your first postpartum sex, in that sense. If you're a first-time mama, or if you are an OG, like, nah, you've done this before, you're a mom of two. So just put it in the chat, mom of one, mom of two, mom of three, or even if you're a mom of five, just put it in the chat. Let me know who I'm talking to today. Let me see. So it's going to be very interactive. Um, and by the way, special shout out to Mike from the Young Wife Circle. I see some of you here. I see Aya. I think I saw Adelako a few minutes ago as well. Thank you for support. Thank you for coming to learn as well. I remember this mom of two. Oji, you're ready. You know this. Aya says moms to be fantastic. This is going to be a very helpful class for you. All right. Any other person? Tammy is a first time mom. Beautiful, beautiful. New mom. Elizabeth is a new mom. All right. I like the mix. But I think it will be more eye opening for those who are moms. So let's get into it. Your sex worldview. I like to say this that your experience in sex will always follow what you believe about sex. Yeah? So let me tell you a very short story. Before I got married, when I was a teenager or a young adult, I had this view about sex that, sex was shrouded in mystery, in secrecy. Like your first time will be so painful. Um, that's climax and all of that was all for the man. That like sex is beautiful and all of that, but it wasn't really meant to give pleasure to the woman. It was all about the man. And we ladies just do it to get pregnant, have babies, and continue the world, so the world doesn't come to an end. That was one mindset I had about sex, right? Those that were having sex then were considered to be bad girls, dirty, and all of that. But something happened. I think about 3 months or so to my wedding. I happened to join a sex class. It wasn't supposed to be a sex class, but it ended up being a sex class. It was a coaching call with the amazing DDK, if you know DDK, Pastor Debla Didikurumi. And it was just a coaching call that sort of morphed into a sex class. And then I started to hear about sex from a whole new perspective. She talked about how sex is beautiful, how sex felt like a massage at the end of a long day, how, you could take control and tell your man what you wanted, how, you could have fragrances and music. And she started to make sex look like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, I can't wait to have sex. So prior to then, I wasn't desirous of sex. I wasn't looking forward to it in that sense. There was curiosity, but it wasn't something like, oh my God, wonderful. But after that class, everything changed for me. And I began to desire to look forward to having this amazing experience with my husband, right? And I can tell you for sure that without that class, my experience as a virgin bride would have been terrible because I would have gone in afraid, anxious, unsure of what to do. Because in that class again, she talked about how to use condoms, how to use, like, it was explicit. And I was glad that I was there at that time, just before my wedding. And so my wedding night was my first time having sex, and it was amazing. So a lot of people, when you ask them, how was your first night? How was the honeymoon night that night? Some of them say, it was okay. Some people say, oh, there was no penetration. But so different experiences. But for me, it was fantastic. And for my husband as well. And I know that I'm in the minority, but what really happened was because my worldview about sex was shattered, like for good. It was changed in a good way, right? And so, as a mom, as a first time mom, I want you to have this foundation before we go into everything else for today. That what you think about sex, what you believe about sex, will determine your experience in sex. So, even postpartum, what you believe about sex postpartum will also determine how you would feel when you finally start having sex after your baby arrives, right? I hope that's clear. So moving on, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. So, of course, everybody here already knows what postpartum means. It means after baby, like after you're giving birth. Um, and postpartum sex speaks to the sexual activity that happens within the first 6 to 12 months after childbirth. So even if it's you've had your baby for like a couple of months, and you've had sex, whether it's still considered postpartum sex as long as you're within that range of 6 to 12 months, or 0 to 12 months, right after giving birth. So now let's look at the general sexual climate of sex after you've had your baby. Before I show you what I have, just put it to me in the chat. What are some of the thoughts that you have about sex postpartum? Our anchor has already mentioned some, but I want to hear from you as well. What are some thoughts that you have about sex? Let me open up the chat. What are postpartum sex? How do you feel about it? What have you about it? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Oh, we don't know anything about postpartum sex. And that's not even possible because we research a lot. So someone says, I'm scared of my stitches from CS loosening. Yes. So there's usually fear that your stitches will come apart. I remember I had a vaginal birth and I had an episiotomy when I had my daughter. And I was so paranoid. I could barely even wash myself because I kept feeling afraid that everything's going to come apart. My vagina is going to tear open. And oh my God, sorry to be graphic, but yeah, we're all moms here. So, or moms to be. So yeah, there's that fear of the stitches coming apart. Any other person? Any other person? I'm just gonna run along that. That's too long. So I've put here like a sex forecast, right, of how many moms feel generally after about sex after their baby. So there's the fear, feeling afraid. Um, Before I even talk about the points, I got it into two portions. There's how you feel mentally, and then there's how you feel physically. So we'll start with mentally. There's the feeling of not being sexy, of not feeling like your body is sexy. You want to hide your body, the stretch marks, the tummy, the bump that has refused to go down. Um, if your face got bigger, if your nose got bigger, you just don't feel sexy like you used to. For some, the sleep deprivation is real, and so you are cranky all the time. You just feel tired. Sex is like the last thing on many moms' minds, right? You feel uninterested in it. If you can relate, just put it in the chat for me that yes, I can relate. And then physically as well, there's going to be, that fear of having your incision come apart, your stitches come apart. Some people even still have pain, in the place where they got stitches. Some people feel body aches. Some people have like tender nipples, sore nipples. Your vagina can also still feel sore if you had a vaginal birth. You can experience dryness. So you can have foreplay, everything, but still you don't get wet the way you used to, right? And then can we talk about milk? Like there's milk everywhere. Oh my God. And if your husband is not really into milk, it's almost like what's going on is like he too he feels uncomfortable about it and you too feel uncomfortable about it. And then there's also the case of having like weak vaginal muscles because your body has been through a lot. Your pelvic floor muscles are weak, and you have to sort of, you know, go through that place of feeling like, oh, your vagina is not tight enough, and so it's not as pleasurable as it used to be, and all of that. So that's sort of. Let me know if that sums it up for you. Does that sum up for you? The sex forecast.
Yeah, I think you said it all. I think you said it all.
Was part of you. That's how we this morning and it's a work day. Please, as much as talk to me. Is that I said it all? Okay. Someone says I'm scared my sex drive won't return. All right. Okay. So now let's go into getting ready to go again. Because the truth is, whether you like it or not, you are most likely going to have sex again, right? Um, and like I said at the beginning about your sex worldview, if you have a mindset that, sex is beautiful, sex is great, it's definitely something you want to get back into, not out of duty or not out of chore, but because you know that there's something good about sex. Sex is pleasurable, sex is desirable, even though right now everything is saying no, 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 no. But if you remember that sex is great, I mean, it you were enjoying it when it was happening. I hope you were, right? So now it's time to say, how can I get ready? How can I get my mind and my body set to enjoy sex again? So the first thing that I think is so important to know is that be sure that you are physically ready because sex it's emotional, but it's primarily a physical act, right? So your body must be stable enough to have sex, right? So the medical professionals advise that you should wait at least 6 weeks before you venture into this act of sex again, right? So, are you at the 6 week mark yet? If you are, has the bleeding stopped? Because you're going to be, your body's going to be passing out a lot of blood to pass out all the things it needed to build that baby in your womb. It's going to be cleansing your womb, right? So has the bleeding stopped or has it reduced significantly? Because it's going to be really uncomfortable to have sex with a lot of blood going on down there, right? Check that your stitches are healing properly. Speak with your doctor. Let them check you. Ensure that you are having a decent amount of rest. I say decent because good luck with trying to get the kind of rest you used to get. I hope you get enough support, grandmas, your husband, everybody around, so that you can get good rest. But make sure that your body feels rested. Ensure that you are eating well and that you're staying hydrated. It's so important because when you have sex, the exertion. It's relaxing, it's fun, but it's also like a workout in a sense. And so you need your body to be balanced. You need your body to be stable enough to have sex. So that's on the physical part. Then, or that's on the medical part. Then number two, resume a basic self-care routine. So one thing that a lot of new moms or moms who just had a baby struggle with is that feeling of, their body is just not, they don't feel sexy. We talked about that already. You don't feel sexy, you don't feel desirable. Many times it's because we sort of let ourselves go, and understandably so. I mean, you just had a baby, your entire world has changed. Even if you had a baby before, a new baby adds a new level of change to everything, right? And so what you want to start to do is to start to gradually get yourself back to feeling like a sexy woman again. Get yourself back to feeling, like someone who wants to be pleasured, who deserves to be pleasured, right? And how do you do that? Have regular baths, smell nice, look nice, ensure your space is clean as much as possible. No diapers hanging around, no dirty clothes. Clean up after yourself or ask people to help you with that. Make your hair. It doesn't have to be anything overly, sensations, but just, nice cornrows, whatever works for you. If you can get a massage, get massages to get your body, to get those aches out of your body, to stretch your body again. If you can get your nails done, a mani pedi, and then exercise, gentle exercises. And one very helpful exercise for your pelvic floor muscles are called Kegel exercises to tighten that place gradually. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like really, you don't need the pressure, but you need to start gradually getting yourself back to where you were, getting your life back pretty much, right? And then number three, which is where I'm going to spend most of my time, take initiative and plan ahead for sex. I know it feels like another thing to plan for. I'm already overwhelmed with this baby. I'm overwhelmed with my life. I'm tired all the time. It doesn't have to be anything too extensive, but you need to have a plan. What having a plan does for you is that it drastically reduces the anxiety that comes with sex. Um, some wives have, they've shared how, postpartum, when when they think that okay, the man is about to ask me, like there's this fear, oh my god, he should not ask me today, oh my god, is he about to ask me? If he touches you a little bit, you're already fidgety, you're already, oh my god, is it going to happen now? Like you are anxious about it. And if you are anxious about something, chances are you cannot enjoy it. Chances are it's going to hurt. Chances are it's not going to be pleasurable at all. So what I want you to do is I want you to take control of your sexual life, pretty much. The truth is, you are the one who knows what you're feeling. You're the one who knows exactly what you went through. Your husband, your partner does not have the full scope of what's going on in your body. You are the one who has the full picture. So I think it will make more sense if you sort of control the narrative to a large extent, right? So what you can do is create a schedule for sex instead of waiting for him to ask you, instead of waiting for spontaneous moments, random moments when you're not even in the mood. Have a schedule. Say, babe, honey, whatever it is you call your man, right? Can we have sex on so day at so time? maybe a time when grandma will be present or somebody will be around to take care of the baby, so that you're not thinking baby when you are having sex, right? If you have that open communication, I'm sure the average man is even more excited if you are the one coming up with ideas for sex, right? So create a schedule, have your schedule for when you want to have sex. Um, Also have a plan for the kind of equipment that you need during sex. Like I talked about earlier, vaginal dryness is one thing that a lot of wives struggle with, a lot of women struggle with postpartum. You're not getting wet. Your natural lubricant is not coming in as it used to. So have a good assistant. Have an artificial lubricant by your side. Get one that is water based, and preferably maybe not, one that doesn't have fragrance, so that it doesn't irritate you, especially if you had a vaginal birth, right? Um, have condoms if you can tolerate them, especially if you've not had any other form of birth control, because believe it or not, people get pregnant 1 month, 2 months, 6 weeks after having a child. It happens. I know a couple of people that it has happened to. And you don't want to have that fear at the back of your mind that, oh my God, hope I won't get pregnant again. So have condoms, have a backup plan while you're waiting to get maybe your implants or your injections or your pills or whatever it is you intend to use, based on your doctor's recommendation. And then this one, communicate with your man during sex. Don't just lie down there and allow him to have his way and do what he wants and, let's get this over with. No, while he's there, while he's doing what he's doing, while you guys are doing what you're doing, talk. This is the time to open your mouth and talk. If it hurts, if something hurts, say it hurts. Don't just hold your breath and endure through it. No. Sex is meant to be pleasurable for both you and your husband. And at this season, when you just had a baby, your body is not how it used to be. So he cannot do things the way he used to do it, right? So talk to him and say, oh, we used to do this. It used to be nice then, but right now it's not so nice. Maybe I need you to be a bit more gentle. Maybe, if he's sucking on your nipples and it feels tender, it feels sore, you can say, okay, maybe not so much, or not for this long, right? Talk. A lot of people suffer through sex. A lot of women suffer through sex, and it shouldn't be that way. Sex is something beautiful, and don't traumatize yourself by yourself, right? So talk during sex. Don't talk about the baby, don't talk about the house, talk about the act of sex that is going on, so that you can enjoy it as much as possible. And then this one too is also important: be willing to learn about sex again. The truth is, with each season of your life, um, the way you have sex will continue to change. After baby one, the way you have sex will change. After baby two, as you get older, your body is changing, everything is changing. What used to be good, what used to feel good might not feel good today. The techniques you knew when you were a new bride or a first time sex person, or in your first time having sex, those techniques might not work now, right? Just the way, when you were pregnant, or as you're pregnant, if you're still pregnant, the styles you used to use, the style that got you pregnant might not be the style that you will continue as you're pregnant, right? So the same thing happens postpartum. Be willing to go and relearn about sex, right? Um, and this will lead me to what I have for you today. I have a gift for you. It's a class that I taught recently to the members of my community. It's called Climbing to Climax. I teach 5 steps to great sex in this class, right? I find that a lot of wives don't never reach the peak of sex, which is climax, which is an orgasm. And I know, you know, as someone who just gave birth, the last thing on your mind is having an orgasm. Like, I don't even want to think about it, but it's still possible for you. And even if it doesn't happen like a few months after your child's birth, I want you to also think long term. I want you to think, 12 months down the line, 1 year down the line. Sex has to, Sex should continue to be a vibrant part of your life, right? And so in this class, if you get this class, I hope you do. It's a 2-part class, and it's such a relatable class where I share action steps on how to create an atmosphere that helps you enjoy sex. So talking about your physical environment and even your emotional environment. You learn how to discover new ways to receive pleasure, the way that you prefer to receive pleasure, and then take control of your sexual fulfillment, which is where a lot of women stumble. You need to take control of your sexual fulfillment. It's not in the hands of your husband alone, right? So if you want to get this class, the link is on the screen, tinyurl.com/climb to climax, one, all together, all lowercase. I also share some other bonus materials in there for, planning your intimacy. There's a fun sheet for the course, and there's also an assessment for your sexual satisfaction, to gauge how it has been over the years, over time, right? So if you sign up today within 24 hours, there's a 50% discount. Trust me, it's a very fun class, and you will enjoy it. All right. So that being said, let me get your questions, and I'm sure that can take us to other realms in this conversation. Thank
All
you
right.
for listening.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing. I think you were able to touch on, the concerns that a lot of women have when it comes to sex. And I think that, the biggest issue that we usually have is the mindset. Two things I'd like to ask you. Mamas, please, let's get your questions in the chat box. Is first the fear. I want us to speak first to the fear.
Anymore.
When after having a baby, I just feel like, the I now, going through labor or whatever, I just like, I don't even want to see anything like sex like this. Like, so when like, if you should touch me, say, if I won't slap your hand. That's the level of fear that women many times have after having a
Mhm.
baby. What would you say to that, and how can women overcome this and see sex as, yes, I've gone through this, but this is also a pleasurable act that I should, go through. What are your thoughts on this?
So yes, the truth is, I mean, after you've gone through that ordeal of birthing a child, the last thing on your mind is wanting to even involve yourself in the process that brought about that child in the first place. But that's why I started at the beginning with your sex worldview, your sexual worldview. If you had previously had great sex and all of that, right, you'd you'd remember that sex is not childbirth in that sense. Sex is not childbirth. Sex is a pleasurable activity all on its own. But another thing I also want to mention here is that it's important that you filter the information that is coming to you regarding sex postpartum. What I find with a lot of wives is that or a lot of women, and the good, the bad, and in being realistic. And I'm not saying there's anything bad with being realistic and all of that. It's great, but there are good experiences out there. But what you find is that most times the bad will outweigh the good. So filter your information sources. Find the resources that celebrate sex postpartum, right? That make you believe that the pain is not going to last forever. The stress is not going to last forever. This is a season that you are in, and you're going to come out on the other side into another season, right? So that's what I'll say. It's okay to be scared. It's valid. I mean, you've gone through something intense, right? But that's not where it ends. Everything has a beginning and has an end. And just have that at the back of your mind. Um, and certainly that I'm going to enjoy sex again. I'm going to enjoy sex again. All right. Um, so yeah, that would be my answer for now.
Okay,
Any other
thanks for
questions?
that. Yes, let's also talk about. I have a few more questions to ask. Let's talk about the body changes that happen. The truth is that even the woman who seemed perfect prior to pregnancy would, so many things, from maybe changes in the way the breast looks to even changes in the way the vagina looks, and just really sometimes stretch marks, bulging tummy, weight gain. I mean, just so many things, and you're just like, I can't get past the way my body looks. Even for some women, at 10 months postpartum, 1 year postpartum, they still can't get over how their body looks to be able to open up and really enjoy sex with their partner. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So I totally get this, and it's I struggled a lot with how my body changed during pregnancy, during my first pregnancy. Um, the truth is, the you, you're just gonna have to give yourself grace, like a lot of grace, and you're gonna have to learn to fall in love with your new self. You can work out, you can work hard to get back to how you were. For some, yeah, they achieve it. For most, we don't achieve it, right? So let me share my own example. What happened for me was that I lost weight. Um, I was a size, let me see, I think a size 12 or 14 when I got pregnant. And I expected to gain weight as I progressed in the pregnancy. But what happened for me is I started to lose weight. I couldn't eat, I couldn't keep anything down. And so I went from like a size 12 to about a size 4. That's very drastic. Very drastic. And so I was sickly, and it was just terrible. At some point I had to take out the mirror in my bedroom because I couldn't stand to look at myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated who I'd become. And after giving birth, everybody started saying that, oh, don't worry, when you start breastfeeding, when you start eating, your weight will come back, do everything. This is 2 years after, and I'm still like a size 6 or 8, thereabouts. So that just shows you how my body changed a lot. I had, well, women here, I had a voluptuous, backside. I had, nice full breast. I was a babe, you get. I was a little bit chubby, and my husband loved me the way I was. So now he has a lepa woman. I'm now like lepa, and I'm like, this is not. So for a very long time, I struggled to look at myself, to love myself. But like I said, give grace, give yourself grace. It can be a very tough journey, it can be a very hard place to be, and I totally get it. Um, but after a while, I started to see that I have a choice. I can stay here feeling down in the dumps, feeling, like a shadow of myself. I can choose to go down that path, or I can start to gradually see the good in my body right now. I can start to gradually fall in love. It'll take time because this is not the body I'm used to, right? I've had my old body for over 20 something years. And so it's going to take time to gradually start to love this new body. But I started to affirm myself. I returned the mirror to my room eventually, and I'll look in the mirror and I'll just encourage myself. And then what I did was I took off the old clothes, like the clothes that I was going to fit into eventually. I got new clothes for my new size, right? To change the hairstyles I was doing that now suited my new slimmer figure and everything. So it'll take a process. Some days you will still cry, some days you still miss your old self, but you're not who you used to be. Like someone said, um, when a child is born, a new woman is born too. A new mom is born. You're a new person. And so it's time, the way you're falling in love with your baby, the way you are learning about your baby, you're going to have to relearn about yourself, reintroduce yourself to yourself, right? And gradually you start to come, to love this person. And of course, if you have supportive people around you, don't 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 close up on them. Let them know what you're going through, so I can encourage you as well. My husband was my greatest support in that season, just encouraging me that don't worry, you're still this year's woman to me, right? Don't worry, gradually your body will start to come back. Even if it doesn't come back, you're still beautiful. Those things went a long way to help me, right? And I hope this helps someone as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking on that. I'm going to ask you two more questions, and then we can just unmute for one or two moms to also speak and share, where they are in terms of in terms of what's it called, sex and just really what they are. Let's talk a bit about the overwhelm that oftentimes come with being a mom. As a mom, you mentioned your toddler, she's back from school, she's scattering, and men are very with sex. Men you rarely, plan, they're not really planners. For men, it's more like food. It's just like how you can just
Yeah.
say, I want to have rice, and you go to the pot and you put the food. But for a lot of women, you kind of want to have your mind say, oh, I want to have sex at this time. And it can be very tough for women to switch. So you know that, oh, this is
Mm,
an enjoyable experience when I eventually, when we get down to it. But I'm just in the phase right now where, oh, you're thinking, I want to bath for my toddler. I want to clean the house. I want to maybe, do this, I want to do that. And what are your thoughts on how moms can manage overwhelm and just really all the things that come with being a wife, mom, and then we're now in a world where women want to be on top of their game in the society, in the workplace, and you now need to switch. And the
mhm.
mind plays such a huge role in having an enjoyable sexual experience. What would you say to this?
Yeah. So I think this goes back to one of the points I made earlier, and is literally you have to take control of your life, including your sex life. Like you have to take control of it. Um, so it's important that spontaneous sex is great, it's beautiful, but planning does something to you. Every time you're prepared for something, it's easier, it flows easier, right? So in the midst of your entire busy schedule, everything is overwhelming. Can you slot in an hour or so for sex, right? Slot it in, communicate it with your husband. This doesn't negate, spontaneous sex here and there once in a while, but slot it in with with your husband, slot it into your calendar. And what that does for you is that you start to prime your mind. If you know that you're going to have sex tonight, yeah, start to prime your mind, start to think sexy thoughts, start to play the kind of music that gets you there. Like just start to prepare your environment for sex. Prepare your physical and your mental environment for sex. Yeah. Um, Another thing that I think is so important is let sex start to feel like a reward for your hard day's work. Should I share this? Should I not share this? I didn't take permission, but I think I can share it.
Please
There are
share
some
with
times
us.
that I didn't take permission from my low worry, but there are sometimes sex doesn't have to be a one-way street. Sex can come in different forms, different ways, and I'm not even talking about styles now. So here's what I mean. There was a season when I think before my daughter started school, I was her teacher. I was her nanny. I was everything. So I was more overwhelmed than I am now that she's in school. And my husband will want to have sex, and I'm like, man, I have zero energy right now. It's been a long day. But what we came up with, this is why communication in sex is so important. What we came up with is we came up with something that we call, don't steal our name, go and find your own, but we call it buffet sex. What that means is I just lie down as the dish, and he does whatever. Like I'm enjoying it, but I'm not actively giving my energy to it because sex requires energy, right? But I'm just there and I'm just enjoying it. So literally he's pleasuring me. I'm not doing any work for him because men don't really need much work like that anyway, right? So I'm just there and he's started with a gentle massage. Like it's about me. He's pleasuring me. He's helping me relax. So for me, at that season, even though it will still take a little, anticipation and preparation mentally to say, okay, I'm having sex with my husband today or tonight, I knew that it was going to be rewarding for me because I'm just going to lie down there. He's going to press me. He's going to touch me. He's going to, I can even sleep off. Do you get? So you need to take control of your sexual feelings, of your sexual life. Many times it's harder when we just let it happen to us, right? And like I said, the man does not know exactly what you're going through. So you must get up and plan and take charge and communicate what you need and what you want. And of course, in the day to day as well, the things that get you overwhelmed, um, ask for the help you need. I know it's different in different homes. The dynamics are different. Like some people have help, some people don't have help. Some people have grandmas, some people don't have grandmas. Some people have domesticated husbands, some husbands are not so domesticated. But as much as, don't let it be that you are going through a lot because you have not asked. And when I say ask, not grumble, not say, oh, you know even, no, have a civil conversation. And there's some ways you can tell a man to do something without telling him, and he feels like it's his own idea. So it's your husband, you know how to, get him to. Right. So that's what I'll say for that. I hope that helps.
All right, thank you for that. So my final question to you, and again, like I said, we're going to listen to one or two moms on this call. Let's talk about the changes to the vagina, which is a
Right.
crucial, it's a crucial part of the conversation. I was just speaking with about a few weeks ago, I was speaking with a consultant, OBGYN, who is one of the doctors we have on board at Babymigo, and she's based in the US. But she then mentioned to me and said, she's a grandma. She was like, there's such a huge need now for women, Nigerian women, who are requesting for vaginal tightening surgery after having their babies, just because of the changes that go on with the vagina. And some men, again, just 2 days ago, I was listening to a very popular what's it called, the popular celebrity, and he was saying that he told his wife not to have a vaginal delivery just because of the changes that will go on, that they even already I found it so so
Wow.
interesting. And that because he didn't want anything at all to happen to that place, that so they already concluded that. Sorry, I don't know why my toddler thinks I'm saying.
It's fine.
Sorry. So anyway, then he now said that he requested that nothing. So because of that, they should have a cesarean session. Just
Mm.
because of it was, like I said, I was shocked when I heard it. But this is actually things that we even heard in our community. I remember our last partners class. A mama reached out to us personally to say that her partner is there. We should bring that, and he had been mandating that she shouldn't have a vaginal delivery because of these changes. Can we speak about it at the partners class? And so we had to raise that anonymously. How can women navigate this clearly obvious change that
Mm.
happens? Some men even go as far as saying that during, during the process of intercourse, they say that when they get in, it even feels like they are in a big, it's like you're putting a little spoon in a big sack.
Big yeah,
This was even the
yeah.
particular description that this mama, I remember, her partner had referred to. So, what are your thoughts on this?
All right. This is very interesting. Um, and to think that people are opting for like elective CS just because of this. Wow. This is my first time of hearing that one. Um, the truth is the the vagina is one of the most elastic parts of the body, right? And what happens is, as the baby is being pushed out, of course, it's going to enlarge to accommodate the baby coming out, obviously. But because it has that ability to expand and to contract, what's going to happen is that it's gradually going to return to its original size. Like that's factual. And I can speak from experience. I mean, it's it's not going to be instant because a baby passed through, obviously. Like, duh, it's not going to happen suddenly. It's not going to happen the next day, but it's eventually going to happen. Your vagina is going to return. The tears or the cuts are going to heal. The elastic band that sort of it didn't break, it just stretched, just like a rubber band. If you stretch a rubber band, it will, if you release it, it's going to contract, it's going to come back to its original size, except something happens that snaps it. And that's a different conversation entirely. If your vagina, loses its elasticity and whatnot, that's a medical condition that you can discuss with your medical professional, right? But the average vagina is going to get back to its regular size after some time. Now, what you can do on your own end to sort of enhance the process of its returning back, to not necessarily speed it up, but just facilitate it, is you can do exercises. And again, nothing rigorous, just gentle exercises. The most common, the most advised is your Kegel exercises, which is literally just tightening and releasing in your vagina, right? Because you do it during sex. That's what helps you to sort of stimulate your husband's penis as you have sex, right? So start rehearsing it again, even when you're not having sex. When you're sitting down, when you're nursing your baby, when you're whatever you're doing, you can do it. It's quiet. Nobody will know. Just be tightening and releasing it, and that helps to sort of build its muscle, to build the elastic muscle of your vagina all over again. Yeah. What else? What else? For those who don't know what a Kegel is, the muscle you hold when you're holding your pee. If you're in this community, I'm sure you already know about it. But that muscle that helps you to hold your pee, it gets loose when you get pregnant, and as you get closer to your delivery date, it's harder to hold your pee. But after giving birth, start to practice that again. Hold your pee, right? So that's the muscle that you're working, and it gets stronger as the days go by, and your vagina will definitely return to its regular size. So there's no need for extreme measures. There's no need for. I think it's not to be disrespectful, but I think it's ignorance. It's ignorance to elect for a CS just because you're afraid that your vagina will be loose. Um, I don't know, but yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let's hear from one or two moms. Let's just hear their feedback and how. So I'm going to have Mama Oyindamola, our mom Seku Mama. Mama Oyinda, how are you doing? I don't know if she can hear me and she can unmute. If not, let's have okay.
Hello, good
Okay,
morning.
Mama. How are you preparing? Have you started?
I haven't. Although I joined the class very late. I thought it was for tomorrow. Like so, but I joined. But I haven't started at all, and maybe it's too. And I'm not sure if I'm mentally ready at all. But then the good thing about it is just that my partner is being understanding. So yeah, and one of the things I'm also like that is making me afraid. Let me put it like as that is getting pregnant again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about family planning yet. And the one I know, that's Billings method. That's one I know I'm familiar with. I can't do that yet because I've not started menstruating again. So all those, that's what has been hindering me. That's what has been stopping me. But I know with time I'll get there.
All right. You mentioned the method of birth control that you normally use. I missed that. Can you say that again for me?
Oh, I
What
use
method?
the Billings method.
The Billings method. You
Yeah.
won't believe that. Today is the first time I'm hearing that. So what exactly
Oh,
is that?
okay. You count like your ovulation. You're able to like
Okay.
monitor your
Okay.
ovulation days. So like 3 days before and like 2 days
All
after.
right, so safe
After,
period.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay, okay.
after,
All right,
yeah.
okay, okay. I know. All right. Uh, hmm. All right. So, like I said in the when I was using, talking with my slides, if you can tolerate condoms, if you and your partner can tolerate condoms, they're a fun way, right, to prevent pregnancy. Um, because that fear is legit. It's a legitimate fear. So if you're comfortable with that, that's one thing that I will definitely advise that you can use. Um, I don't recommend using any hormonal pills or anything right now, especially if your baby is still young. Um, so yeah, okay, I can see Aya's hand up. Oh yeah, I hope that helps you. I hope you will consider that. Or let me even ask, have you considered condoms, or
Well,
it's a
I
no-no
haven't
for you?
considered, I've not considered it, but I will. But then with stitches and everything, although I think I'm fully healed now. It's just that I'm not mentally there yet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I think
Yeah.
I'll consider
All
that.
right. You're welcome. And also have with condoms, you want to have lubricant so that it doesn't cause too much friction, in the process. I like to recommend KY jelly because it's the one that I've enjoyed the most out of many that I've tried. So yeah, okay. I see your hand up.
Hi, Ewa. Thank you for the very informative class. I'm glad I was able to join today. Yes, I wanted to just mention, I think it's also important for different people to know different, as in the types of bodies they have, because I remember you mentioned your first night with your husband and how straightforward it was. I just want to mention that my own was not straightforward, and it wasn't because of fear. I was excited. I couldn't wait and everything. I was ready. They said I should buy KY jelly. I had that. They said I should take a glass of wine to help me relax. I had all that, but it was just impossible. I thought I had a problem for the longest time. I was always the one
Mm,
pushing. He was, oh, be patient. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I was like, but I've waited this long. I just want to get on with it. So I know it wasn't a mental block that I had. It was just
mhm,
the way I was down there. Maybe I don't know, maybe
mm,
the hymen was just stronger. And as you also know, some people are born without a hymen and it's a bit easier for them. And some people have a very strong hymen that makes it very difficult for them. So I just wanted to attach this my point with the next thing I want to say, which is that it's also a real thing that some people, after giving birth, it does feel a little bit looser down there from what I have heard a couple of people mention. So
mm,
the husband might feel the difference, and the wife also obviously would feel the difference because how it felt before is different from how it feels now. And yes, like you mentioned, the Kegel exercises will be very important to help, but it's also just for them to know the types of bodies they have and to learn to love it again. And I don't know,
mm,
because like it's a man's world and a lot of men have a lot of power over their wives. Like the one you mentioned about him insisting, and some they will just tell the doctor, oh, just add two more stitches there by the time she's done, without even the wife knowing and things like that. So we pray for patient husbands, but we should also know the types of bodies we have so that we don't have over expectations and then they're now dashed to pieces and we're left broken more than we should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aya, for that contribution. And absolutely, there are definitely like exceptions on both sides of every situation. But like on the average, right, the average woman will have, the experience that I mentioned, which is, you know, going back to your vaginal strength. And and of course, your body will never be 100% what it was before you had the baby. But I think this also speaks to um, the idea of sex generally, which is hard to, to talk about in specifics because everybody is unique in their marriage and in their relationship with their husbands. But at the end of the day, sex is, yeah, it's about pleasure and having orgasms and climaxes and everything. But that's why it's so important. I tell wives a lot and couples when I counsel, like, you must prioritize intimacy. You must prioritize, beyond just the tightness, beyond just how, climatic it feels. There has to be that intimacy, there has to be that bond, that friendship, when you come to sex, especially for a married couple. Yeah. But like Aya already prayed, I pray that, God will give us understanding and patient husbands. Amen. All right. Any
Thank
other
you. Thank you.
questions?
I think that'll be all. I think the final just from everything that we have said today will be for moms to also take note of their individual realities. There are some moms, for moms in the diaspora, for example, you may not have access to, even maybe you're unable to take your child to the crèche yet, and so on and so forth. So just also take note of your individual realities. But I also believe that the key thing here that we have learned is that it's not just going to happen. It's an important part of your life that you have to take note of. And you also sort of have to work at least a little to be able to improve, your overall life and your relationship with your partner. So I'd like to thank our speaker for today. Please follow her on Instagram. The Instagram handle is on the screen. She's also on YouTube as well, and she also has a community for wives, specifically. So thank you very much, mamas. Please do well to share your concerns with us in the community. I know that mamas will always share their concern about this sex thing with us. I trust our mamas. So please do well to do that. All right then. Thank you very much, everyone. Please have a great weekend. Bye.